Most of us who live in the United States have distant relatives who immigrated here from other countries. If you go back far enough, unless you're a Native American, you have a family member who risked everything to come to America. Can you imagine the strength, enthusiasm, and determination it took for someone to pack up everything, say their goodbyes, and journey by ship to an unknown land? Sounds like risky business to me, and totally something I would have done myself during my hypomanic younger years. It would be reasonable to assume that people who had the drive to make such a journey were different from those that decided to stay at home. Only 1 out of 100 people immigrate, and they tend to be gifted with special drive and ambition. A new theory suggests that there are higher rates of bipolar disorder among immigrants, regardless of which country they're moving from. That doesn't surprise me, especially with how many times I've moved myself. According to author John Gartner, the top 3 countries with the most bipolar disorder are the US, New Zealand, and Canada. These are all nations of immigrants. In places like South Korea or Taiwan, they haven't absorbed very many immigrants at all. These countries have the lowest rates of bipolar disorder. In a fascinating way, the percentage of immigrants in a population correlates with the number of people who have bipolar in their gene pool. Immigrating to a new land is ideally suited for someone experiencing hypomania. Think about it. As John Gartner wrote, if you are an impulsive, optimistic, high-energy risk taker, you're more likely to undertake a project that requires a lot of energy, entails a lot of risk, and might seem daunting if you thought about it too much. America has drawn hypomanics like a magnet, end quote. Think of all the artists, actors, singers, athletes, public figures, and political leaders who have this illness. These are the high-energy risk takers, the polar warriors of the world. Do you think that success in America is due to a lot of successful people living with bipolar disorder? That's a very interesting thought. In a small pilot study, John interviewed 10 internet CEOs. They were each read a list of hypomanic traits and then asked if they agreed that these traits are typical of an entrepreneur. They're filled with energy. They're flooded with ideas. They are driven, restless, and unable to keep still. They channel their energy into the achievement of wild, grand ambitions. They often work on little sleep. They feel brilliant, special, chosen, perhaps even destined to change the world. They can be euphoric. They become easily irritated by minor obstacles. They are a risk taker. They overspend in both their business and personal life. They act out sexually. They sometimes act impulsively with poor judgment in ways that can have painful consequences. They are fast-talking. They are witty and gregarious. Their confidence can make them charismatic and persuasive. And lastly, they're prone to making enemies and feel like they're persecuted by those who do not accept their vision and mission. John was a little worried that the CEOs would find the line of questioning to be offensive. Instead, they all agreed that the overall description was accurate. Some of them resonated with it so much that they were rating it a 7 on a scale of 1 to 5. They agreed with all of the hypomanic traits except for sexually acting out and paranoia. This makes sense because these traits are looked at as a negative, making it hard for them to admit to some stranger. So what do you think? Is there a link between bipolar disorder and success in America? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. A fair warning though, any comments related to politics or immigration issues will be deleted. Let's keep the conversation about the link between success and bipolar. If you want to read a lot more about this topic, check out John Gartner's book, The Hypomanic Edge. I'm not affiliated with the author or book in any way. I just found it to be a fascinating concept and wanted to share. Take extra good care of yourselves, warriors, and I'll be back here soon with more Polar Warrior videos. Stay well.